On this week's episode of History and Relics, we'll be talking about legendary country music star Hank Williams Sr., and particularly his final tour, which led him to Oakhill, West Virginia, en route to a scheduled show in Canton, Ohio, that unfortunately he never got to play as he was found dead in the back seat of his baby blue Cadillac Convertible while making a stop in Oakhill. And speaking of that last stop in West Virginia, it's still around today, and we're paying a visit there and want to bring you along with us. So please join us today on History and Relics. Hiram Hank Williams, born September 17, 1923, and died January 1, 1953, is regarded as one of the most significant and influential American singers and songwriters of the 20th century. He recorded 55 singles, 5 released posthumously, which reached the top 10 on the Billboard Country and Western Bestsellers charts, 12 reaching number 1, 3 of those also posthumously. Born and raised in Alabama, his boyhood home is now a museum today, located in Georgiana, Alabama, just a short distance away from the newly revived Georgiana Opry House, where Hank would watch movies and later sing with his Drifting Cowboys band early in his career. Hank received guitar lessons from an African-American blues musician named Rufus T. Tot Payne in exchange for meals and money. Payne, along with Roy Acuff and Ernest Tubb, were major influences on Williams' musical style. By the late 1940s, with hits like Movin' On Over and Lovesick Blues, Hank was able to join the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville after being initially rejected. The hits kept climbing the charts with Hey Good Lookin' and I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. However, by early 1952, his personal life involving alcoholism, drug abuse, unreliability, and a faltering marriage took its toll professionally, leading to Hank being dismissed from the Grand Ole Opry. Williams wanted to get back in good graces with the Opry and thought that going on tour may promote his good intentions. He played the Skyline Club on December 19, 1952 in Austin, Texas. This would end up being his final official concert. However, his last public appearance occurred on December 28th. Williams was at the American Federation of Musicians annual meeting in Montgomery, Alabama. Sitting in the audience eating a steak, he was asked to go up on stage and sing a few songs, which he agreed to do before returning to his dinner. Williams was later scheduled to perform at the Municipal Auditorium in Charleston, West Virginia, on New Year's Eve, 1952. Advanced ticket sales totaled $3,500. However, due to a storm that brought snow and ice conditions, Hank wasn't able to fly, but instead hired college freshman Charles Carr to drive him to the shows. Williams knew Carr's father, who ran a local taxi service in Montgomery. Nearing Knoxville, Tennessee, the weather worsened, and Carr knew to call ahead to cancel the show at the Charleston Auditorium. They were advised to trudge on to Canton, Ohio, in the hopes that they could make it there in time for the New Year's Day show. The two men arrived at the Andrew Johnson Hotel in Knoxville and checked in around 7 p.m. They ordered some food to be delivered to their rooms from the hotel's restaurant. Carr also requested a doctor for Williams, as Williams was feeling the combination of the chlorohydrate and alcohol he drank on the way from Montgomery to Knoxville. A doctor later came and injected Williams with 2 shots of vitamin B12 that also contained a bit of morphine. Carr and Williams checked out of the hotel at around 10:45 p.m. Hotel porters had to carry Williams to his Cadillac as he was coughing and hiccuping. Carr and Williams headed out of Knoxville from the Andrew Johnson Hotel via Gay Street to Magnolia Avenue to Route 11W. Ironically, Bloody 11W, as it's referred to, is a fitting name for the route the two took that night, considering that many believe that Hank died on the road somewhere between the hotel and Rutledge, Tennessee, where Carr was issued a ticket for reckless driving and where the officer told Carr that he thought his passenger looked dead. Carr told the officer that Hank was just drunk, but the officer later speculated that Hank was dying coming out of the hotel in Knoxville and passed somewhere on 11W. At around midnight on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1953, they crossed the Tennessee state line and arrived in Bristol, Virginia. Carr later stopped at a small all-night restaurant in Oakhill, West Virginia, believed to be the Skyline Drive-In, and asked Williams if he wanted to eat. Williams said he didn't, and those are thought to be his last words. Carr later drove a couple more miles up the road, stopping for fuel at a gas station thought to be the Pure Oil station, where he discovered Williams seemingly asleep in the back seat. He was unresponsive, and rigor mortis had already begun to set in. Carr immediately realized that he was dead and informed the filling station's owner, Glenn Burdett, who called the chief of police, O.H. Stamey. Because a corpse was involved, Stamey called radio officer Howard Janey. Stamey and Janey found some empty beer cans along with unfinished handwritten lyrics to a song yet to be recorded. The town's coroner and mortician performed an autopsy on Hank at the Tyree Funeral Home. He found hemorrhages in the heart and neck and pronounced the cause of death as insufficiency of the right ventricle of the heart. He also found that, apparently unrelated to his death, Williams had been severely kicked in the groin during a fight in a Montgomery bar a few days earlier, in which he had also injured his left arm, which was subsequently bandaged. That evening, when the announcer in Canton announced Williams' death to the gathered crowd, they started laughing, thinking it was just another excuse. After Hawkshaw Hawkins and other performers started singing "I Saw the Light" as a tribute to Williams, the crowd realized it was no joke, and that Hank had indeed passed. The crowd then joined in the song. Hank was transported back to Montgomery on January 2nd in a silver coffin. His funeral took place on January 4th at the Montgomery Auditorium, with his coffin placed on the flower-covered stage. During the ceremony, Ernest Tubb sang "Beyond the Sunset," followed by Roy Acuff with "I Saw the Light," and then Red Foley with "Peace in the Valley." An estimated 15,000 to 25,000 people passed by the silver coffin, and the auditorium was filled with over 2,700 mourners. During the funeral, 4 women fainted and a 5th was carried out of the auditorium in hysterics after falling at the foot of the casket. His funeral was said to have been larger than any other held for any other citizen of Alabama, and the largest event ever held in Montgomery, surpassing Jefferson Davis's inauguration as President of the Confederacy. Around 2 tons of flowers were sent. Hank is buried at the Oakwood Annex in Montgomery, Alabama. Hank was inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1961, the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1970, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. All right, well, remember earlier when we mentioned that Hank was found with some unfinished song lyrics the day he passed? Well, that piece of paper and those handwritten lyrics can be found at Hank's boyhood home and museum in Georgiana, Alabama. A while back, we met one of the curators there, Tracy Eason, who told us about those lyrics, and we want to share that info with you here.
Okay, this note was actually found in Hank Williams' coat pocket the day that they found him dead in the back of the Cadillac. As you can see, that is girl's handwriting. It is certainly not Hank's handwriting, but one can only assume, we do not know, that maybe was one of his little love interests, or perhaps someone that just came up to him and wanted to write a song. Would you please put this in a song? So we really are not sure where that note came from, but it did come out of his shirt or coat pocket.
Pretty interesting, huh? Well, now we're going to take you to West Virginia. And interestingly enough, we encountered the same type of weather Hank and Charles did 69 years earlier, as a snowstorm was moving through the area. Now this isn't January, but rather March, but in terms of trying to make things as authentic as we can, you really can't get any better situation than what we drove through to replicate Hank's last stop. The Skyline Drive-In, aka Hank's Last Stop, is now owned by Nisa and Ricky Green. You can stop in, take a look around at a few pieces of neat memorabilia, have a seat, talk a little Hank, and then they'll serve you up with some great made-to-order food before you have to hit the road again to your next destination. And speaking of next destinations, we're stopping just up the road a piece to where the old Pure Oil gas station was. It's gone now, torn down in 2006, and only a vacant lot remains. However, right across the street at the Herbert E. Jones Library stands a humble memorial to Hank Williams. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our program. If you like our content, we ask that you give us a thumbs up, a like, share with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell so you always know when our new content is published. And all of this costs nothing, but means a lot to us and keeps us growing. You may also leave us a tip if you choose. The address is provided here on your screen, and a link is provided in the description area below. So until next time, everyone, this one is history. Hey, and be sure to check out our eBay store under ID History and Relics. We're now featuring channel merchandise, starting with our new logo magnet. They're only $5.50, and net proceeds go towards supporting our channel.